history!
We've been asked to reflect on this year's English class in order to discover what is American about American novels and American writing.
We decided to take a journey through America as we discovered much of America's history is located in our own backyards.
We found that American literature is truly American because it focuses on the characters' pursuit of happiness, how they go about achieving their goals.
This idea has been engraved in the hearts and minds of Americans since it was first stated in the Declaration of Independence in 1776.
Check out what we found out on our adventure through American literature.
Today we're on our way to Walden Pond in historic Concord, Massachusetts, where the Minutemen fought for independence in the First Battle of Lexington and Concord. Say hi, guys.
We're so excited for Walden! Woo!
We do wish the weather was a little nicer. As you can see, it's raining cats and dogs. But we'll be there soon, so sit tight.
Welcome to Walden Pond here in Concord, Massachusetts. Unlike many others, Thoreau's time at Walden can be declared a success in numerous aspects.
His time alone allowed him to embrace a simple lifestyle and grasp a firm understanding of what the true necessities are in life.
He believed, and I quote from Economy Part 1 of Walden, "It would be some advantage to live a primitive and frontier life, though in the midst of an outward civilization."
Walden Pond was the home to the famous Henry David Thoreau for 26 long months as he lived in a self-constructed cabin by the pond's shore.
Thoreau was a different man, a man whose ideas and philosophies were more abstract than anyone else's at the time.
Prior to moving to Walden, Thoreau discovered that the better part of man was soon to be plowed into the soil for compost.
He became increasingly critical on society's dependence on luxuries and focused strongly on the growth of the individual.
This became Thoreau's trademark, his pursuit of happiness in a world he believed was changing for the worst.
We found that our universe is wider than our views of it. This exemplifies how our miniature worlds are not a representation of the world at large.
Pit stop! The majestic setting of Walden Pond is important because it was peaceful, serene, and placid.
It clearly had an impact on Thoreau's beliefs, as such a simple setting is representative of such simple idealism. Here we are in colonial Salem on a frigidly cold day. The Puritan winters were among the worst in the country, but not as cold as Abigail Williams' heart. She accused over 30 women of witchery in colonial Salem.
Arthur Miller's 20th century play depicted the story of Abigail Williams and the hysteria that occurred in Puritan Salem.
Miller wrote the play as an allegory to the communist witch hunts going on in 1950s America.
The playwright draws connections between both stories of ostentatious accusations and a common fear.
Miller's story has been a cornerstone of American literature since it was written in the 1950s. It is truly American because it tells the story of one girl's pursuit of happiness and how it ended in disaster for her community.
Abigail Williams' pursuit was more important to her than the safety of others. She accused other women to save herself.
Along with her own safety, Abigail also pursued John Proctor. In the end, over 30 women were accused under Abigail's command. We come to wonder what was more important, Abigail's happiness or the community as a whole.
The pursuit of happiness is a common theme in American literature. It is portrayed in The Crucible by Abigail Williams, causing mass hysteria to obtain her goal. This pursuit makes the play truly American.
I'm standing here at the First Church of Salem. Now it is a Unitarian church, but it was founded in 1629.
The Covenant of the First Church in Salem, established in 1629, showed the devotion to God that the Puritans felt, as well as their devotion to the community and the unification that it held.
We covenant with the Lord and one with another, and do bind ourselves in the presence of God to walk together in all his ways.
Pit stop! The setting of the crucible is not only important because it is based on true events which actually occurred in colonial Salem, but also holds local importance.
Members of the revered nurse family combined to break away from the Salem Town Authority and set up Topsfields, a new independent entity whose existence was resented by old Salemites.
Topsfield is a town in which many of us currently live.
Rebecca Nurse was also related to our own Tyler Hall.
Welcome to the fabulous home of Jay Gatsby, where F. Scott Fitzgerald tells the story of a man who goes from rags to riches to pursue his American dream.
Fitzgerald accurately portrays high society life in the Roaring Twenties. Those who come from old money are not at all concerned with their moral character. Their hearts are not half as big as their wealth. New money will never be as classy.
The novel begins with a quote from Nick Carraway's father, who dissuades him from the attitude that most opulent people have. This is not true for Daisy Buchanan, Gatsby's lifelong pursuit.
Jay Gatsby will stop at nothing to obtain his goal. Daisy is certain to fall in love with him once he becomes rich like her.
Jay Gatsby sprang from his platonic conception of himself. James Gatz invented Gatsby as Daisy's perfect other half. He throws parties as to attract her, but it is all a facade.
As Nick Carraway states, Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgasmic future that year by year recedes before us. This exhibits Gatsby's pursuit of love and happiness, making this novel truly American.
Pit stop! The setting of New York City was the American center of so-called moral corruption in the 1920s.
It was key to Gatsby's rise and fall from grace, and perhaps Nick Carraway's loss of innocence.
Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the same advantages that you have. As Nick Carraway's father states, not everyone in America has had the same opportunities.
Here we are in Bigger Thomas's dismal Chicago apartment.
Bigger Thomas is the central character in Richard Wright's novel, Native Son. The story is the quintessential American tale of struggle and inequality.
Thomas was a black youth living in a poor Chicago neighborhood who faced challenges every day.
The novel is a classic tale of a minority struggling to find work in a world that seems to be working against him.
Bigger's pursuit of happiness was severely limited by society.
Contrary to Abigail Williams' story, her pursuit creating a catastrophe for her community, Bigger's environment severely impedes on his pursuit, creating a disaster for Bigger.
Bigger's sole job opportunity was driving for an affluent white family. He was incredibly unhappy with his prospects. His dream was to be a pilot, but that was not possible for blacks.
So Bigger's pursuit begins. He reluctantly goes to work for the Daltons, chauffeuring the family around. Less than a week goes by before Bigger has killed the Daltons' troublemaking daughter.
It is not a very uplifting story, perhaps a story that Americans would not like to remember as a recollection of their country, but it is truly an American novel.
The citizens of this country, we have to look objectively at the story and the time period it was born out of, as part of our history.
Even Bigger's tragic pursuit of happiness is a representation of America as a whole.
Pit stop! The setting of Native Son, 1950 Chicago, is very important.
Like most American cities, Chicago was segregated and extremely racist at the time.
Racism is a key theme in Richard Wright's novel. Perhaps the setting of Chicago created the monster which Bigger Thomas turned out to be.
Mr. Dalton asks Bigger, "How long have you been in Chicago?"
And Bigger responds, "Oh, about 5 years."
Mr. Dalton then follows up with, "You like it here?"
And he answers, "It'll do."
Although Bigger clearly did not feel this way about his current dwellings, he was forced to say this to the Daltons because they were white and he was black, and Chicago was racist.
Wow, what a crazy trip!
We hope you had as much fun as we did.
We've all learned that the pursuit of happiness is a crucial part of American culture and American literature.
Bye, Period 3. Stay American and keep pursuing your happiness.
Bye!